Hello everybody, this is T from katescraftycloset, and yesterday I went ahead and made this pocket for an altered book that I'm working on as a memorial from my mom. And I decided, I looked at it and I'm like, I can turn this into a card. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. I didn't pre-make the card like I normally do for my videos, but like I said, this was the inspiration, this little pocket that is made from a lunch bag, and it just kind of opens up, and you can see on the side right here you can put little ephemera pieces and stuff in there. I just decorated a little bit on that inside. So that is that. So we'll get started. This is just a piece of white, inexpensive cardstock, not really super heavyweight. And like I said, here is a lunch bag. You can get these from pretty much anywhere, and your local store, Walmart and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and just kind of play around and see how it all works out. So first thing I will do is I'm just going to cut off this part of the bag, and don't throw that away because that's what I actually made that pocket out of. As you can see, it opens up on the sides and you can put little pictures and little ephemera and stuff in there. So don't throw it away. And what I wound up doing is opening up the bag and just cutting up one of these already pre-made slits. You can tear it with your hands, you can do scissors, you can use a trimmer, all depends on what you want to do. So I wound up doing is I just cover up this cardstock. I'm not going to do this all the way completely on camera, but just get some art glitter glue or a glue that doesn't dry. Takes long to dry, and it's quick, and it doesn't warp your paper, because this paper bag is super thin and you don't really want a whole lot of warping going in there. But if it does, it doesn't matter because it just gives it texture. You know, that's just how I look at it. Gives it texture, and you just kind of roll with it. So just pretend that through the magic of television that I glue that down, die cut it with this MFT wonky stitched rectangle die, and this was our end result. Okay, so I'll do the best that I can to link everything that I use in the description box below, or give you alternatives. And I also went ahead and pre-cut a top folding A2 size card, which means that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is made out of Neenah Desert Storm cardstock, the 100-pound version of that. So here we have our little things. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in with some distress. These are Archival inks. I'm going to use the Vintage Photo and distress this piece up. So I just have my blending foam. You can use whatever you want, whatever color you want, but I'm going to go with a Vintage Photo, just to mimic what I did yesterday with that pocket. And it all depends on how much you want to ink it up. So you can put as little or as much as you want. So it all depends on to your liking. And we're just going to go around. This is just to accentuate a focal point for our center of our card. And like I said, you can use these Archivals, which makes them not water reactive. So if I somehow glue gut on it, it won't react. It'll stay like that. And you can always go back later and add more ink should you need to do that. We're not really done with that. I'm just going to make sure how it looks up against our panel, and I'll make a decision. I think I was going to ink the edges of the cardstock. I think I'm going to not do that, which is totally 100% okay. So we have some paper here. I can't say where I got this from. I want to say I got this last year at Creativation from one of the vendors. That's what I want to say, and that's why I don't really know where this came from, because it wasn't in packaging. So we're going to just butt this up. It's like I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time using a trimmer. I'm just going to use a ruler, and we can always do less, because you can always cut more off, and I'm just going to rip this. Okay, and then it's like, I may need to do a little bit more because, yeah, I'm going to do a little bit more of that. And when you're doing small pieces, it's a little bit hard, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible. You can always come in with some tweezers too, or you can just come in with some scissors. But I kind of like a little bit of the torn edge, but I'm just going to go ahead and trim that up because it's all well and good. I'm just trying to get it to stay a little bit. And if this is wonky, that's okay too, because our stitch is a wonky stitch as well. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to bring in that ruler again and just do my best to make that ruler straight, but it doesn't always work that way. And don't throw away those pieces because you can use those for accents on other projects and stuff. So this is, we're just going to ink up the edges of this as well. And kind of distress it up. Give it that vintage vibe. Like for the longest time, I never did ink edges up on my papers and stuff, but then I realized it does give it a really great accent. It's like it draws in the eye. And you can distress this with tone on tone. Like I could have went with a purple if I wanted to, but I'm just going this whole vintage look. And I always do the edges up a little bit more than the rest of the paper. Okay, so we have that. I'm pretty sure we're done with the inking part of this tutorial. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in with some art glitter glue, art glitter glue. You can use any kind of wet adhesive you want. You could even use, you know, double-sided tape on this. So we're just going to go ahead and put, so if anybody knows where this paper came from, please let me know. Like, I don't recognize it. All right, hold that down for a second. Okay, perfect. Earlier, I did a whole bunch of these the other day because I was playing around with my paper crimper. This is just a 2-inch circle punch that I punched out on regular white. Same cardstock that I showed you all earlier. It's an accent paper from Amazon. And I just crimped it with my paper crimper. And I'm just going to come in and use a little bit of a darker color. This time, this is an Archival Distress from Tim Holtz. This is Ground Espresso. So I'm just going to just swipe this across, and it's going to just go on the top of those crimped edges. And if you want to go in and ink around it, let's try and see how that works, because I didn't do that on the pocket that I showed you in the beginning of the video. So let's just go in with the Distress Photo and just add a little, because you'll have two different tones on here, which is kind of cool. So that's working. I like that, so we'll probably keep that. And we're just going to go around the whole thing. Okay. And you can use any shape that you want. If you want to do a circle, you can. You want to do a square, you can. So I'm just kind of place that on there. I'm like, okay, I think I'm okay with that. And these I go ahead and actually I do a whole bunch of these ahead of time and have them in my stash so I can just grab and go. So that's just some baker's twine and the jute. I want to say jute flavor, but it's not flavor. And here I have this little butterfly. This is just from a stash that I picked up at, I bought these from Michael's a long time ago. It was like a pack of them. So I'm just going to kind of like, okay, I think I'm fine with all the placement of it all. So we can just go ahead and adhere stuff down. I think I am going to put a foam square in the center of our circle here. Like, yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Like, why not, right? You can use any placement you want on it, completely 100% up to you. Onto the card, we're going to put a little sentiment at the bottom as well. So here we have our that. Don't try not to press down too hard on that. Going to come in with my art glitter glue, put some in here. And for this piece, you can put a dab of hot glue on here if you don't really want to wait. No, but you can do that. And then we're going to go ahead and glue on our butterfly as well. And you can use any ephemera that you have, or any kind of die cuts that you have, or anything like that. That is so, I love it. Coming out good. So I went ahead and I bought this the other day off of Amazon because I needed a new one because my smaller one was just kind of a little bit hard to operate. I have to say I love this one. I like the fact that I did the word thank you earlier, and I like the fact that when it cuts it, my other one didn't do this, that it leaves a cut edge where you can peel off that back. The other one I actually had to go in and try with a pokey tool and do that. So I'm just gonna kind of put that on here and do my best to line it up, and these don't stick so fast until you press down on it. So I just like the boldness of that black on that. So that really does complete our card. That's not bad considering I just kind of winged the card from the pocket on this YouTube tutorial. So like I said, I'll do the best that I can to you know, put this. Oh, we need to finish the card. I'm sorry, we didn't even technically finish putting it together. Like, I'm going to put some foam squares on the back of that and put it on that panel, which somehow, yeah, we're going to put some foam squares on there. I'm sitting here like ready to go, and like technically didn't finish the card, so I'm going to put foam squares. And I put a lot of foam squares on here, especially when you're going through the mail. It has a tendency, if you don't put enough foam squares on there, it tends to warp in the process of it. So, because I've tested the theory out by mailing myself cards, and if you don't hand delivering, it's okay. You can put as many or as little as you want on that. But I just find that for the sake of mailing, adding more ends up paying off. And I usually put a little bit of that art glitter glue on the back of these once I peel them off to give me a little bit of wiggle room, because I'm not the greatest at getting stuff lined up. So you see how it will wind up being like that. I may go ahead and see after I put this on here if I want to ink up those edges of the other one, but I think I'm okay for the time being. So I want to thank you all for joining me today. Make sure you check out the website at katescraftycloset.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Leave me a comment down below, and make sure you follow us on social media over on Instagram and stuff like that. And we have a Facebook group where we do lives and stuff like that, and just have a lot of fun showcasing our products and our projects. So thank you all for joining me, and have a crafty day, y'all.